Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to All in TV StarCraft 2 commentary slide and legend here, of course. Bringing you a game, this time a TVZ between Pult Prime, our blue Terran, here in the 1 o'clock/12 o'clock position of Shattered Temple. Meanwhile, down in the 7 o'clock position, our red Zerg Dream, who is Stephano playing on the Korean server.
Yep, MillStephano, and they're having a friendly chat playing today at Blizzard Cup. So this is probably about, 3 weeks old replay, I must say.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yep.
And Stephano, why don't we talk a little bit about him? Of course, I would imagine he's probably more familiar to the people watching this video than Pult Prime would be.
Yep, Stephano, a French Zerg. He has his own style. He uses a lot of lings instead of banelings. And he's just a really good Zerg, a very creative Zerg. And I would say he's probably the best Zerg player, at least in Europe right now.
Yeah, I would say out of the foreign Zergs, Sen and Stephano probably I don't know, personally I think top two. A lot of people would make the argument for Hydra, of course. Hydra, a strong player in his own right, but yeah, I don't know. not a huge fan of him personally for many reasons. Pult Prime, meanwhile, his he is of course famous in the a famous Korean player in the GSL. And his top matchup usually is TVP. He hasn't been doing not too hot lately in GSO, however.
Yep, he joined TSL about 2-3 months ago as well. He left Prime, and he goes to Seoul University, which is the highest university you can get into as Korean. So he's obviously a smart guy, good-looking guy, and he was a top. I would say he's a top StarCraft 2 player. He won Super Tournament, and he was also he was a Warcraft 3 player as well. So I guess he has it all going on for him.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Lately, we haven't been seeing too much success from Pult Prime here, but of course, like you said, Legend, he has won a GSO championship. So, it's pretty good, I'd say. It looks like a Reaper expand, I would imagine, would be coming from Pult here. Fairly common build. It's basically in TVZ either this or a Reactor Helen expand. And so it looks like we are going to see the former here at this point. When will that command center be dropped down? Looks like he's starting to save up quite a few minerals for that CC.
Oh, he's actually killing 2 Reapers, so maybe we'll see some kind of a, kind of heavy Reaper pressure, maybe, hopefully. That'll be kind of cool. Reapers are very just versatile unit in the especially early game for Terran. So I really love to see Reapers getting utilized more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Reaper expands, or even just early Reaper scouts in TVZ and TVP. It looks like the Reaper taking a couple of Zerglings, taking a little bit of damage, but nothing too significant. The Spinecrawler going down in the front. And Pult's not actually, I guess he's going to focus on that Spinecrawler. I'd like to see him just kind of ignore it and maybe go after a couple of drones or something. But yeah, Reaper's very good in all matchups, especially for the early scouts. And that bunker was cancelled. The SCV did go down, I believe.
Yep.
And actually, while we have a little bit of downtime here, if you guys haven't noticed, for those of us, for those of you just joining us now, 1 second here, it looks like a couple Reapers.
Oh,
Whoa!
wow.
A little bit of missed micro there. He was trying to get that creep team where they get a shot off. Did not kill it, however, at the expense of a Reaper. Very unfortunate. He wanted to keep both those alive, I'm sure. And he's going to just scout around, be a little pesky with this final Reaper, and probably go back to the watchtower at this point.
I actually do want to point out that Stephano here actually did not make any Zerglings at this point. Till he's making 6 right now, but he was just dealing with the 2 Queens and a Spinecrawler, which is just very brilliant choice by him. He did not make any. He didn't, make any additional Zerglings. He just droned up really hard.
Yeah, his speed is now just about to complete. Slow Zerglings, for I'm sure many of you to realize, are pretty much one of the most useless attacking units, army units. And now they did get their wings with that upgrade, and Reapers are able to kite them. Not anymore. Nice surround by Stephano, taking out both Reapers very handily, using only a couple of lings. Well done, and is able to secure that natural expansion very handily now. Combat shows just not completing, as well as a Roach Warden for Stephano. So will we see some Roach aggression? He's got to be expecting that behind those Reapers, Pult, is expanding, which is of course exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, if he actually puts on really heavy roach pressure, I'm not sure he's gonna be able. Polt Prime is gonna be not Polt Prime. I guess TSL Polt is gonna be able to handle this. He only has 4 Marines out right now. I guess he does have a bunker. So yeah, he's just gonna pump out only Marines at this point. 3 barracks and 2 of them with a reactor on it.
Yeah, and Stephano now going up to nearly 40 drones here, and is not. Is he working down the side rocks? Are those lings working down those side? Yes, they are. So he's gearing up to take his 3rd base relatively soon here. Are there any roaches on the way? Production tab says yes. 9 roaches now just about to pop out, as well as 14 lings. So we should see a good amount of aggression here. First roaches and lings now making their way across the map. Pretty decent creep spread so far by Stephano.
Yeah, I just also want to point out that since he made a lot of units, so he really doesn't have to deal with any pressure. So he moved his spine crawler on the side to attack these rocks while he's attacking or gonna put pressure on Polt. So very smart choice again by Stephano. That's why he's a world-class player.
Yeah, that is very smart, freeing up all his units now for his attack, and let's see how much damage he can get done. He's Ling's gonna come in first, running into his Marines. Not a good idea. Combat shield is finished. Stem not quite yet. He sees all those roaches, and Polt's gonna have to micro back. Nice round by Stephano, blocking those Marines for off the retreat, and the roaches absolutely massacring the Marines. Can he repair that bunker in time? No, gonna attack the SCVs instead. Not sure that's the greatest idea here. And with that bunker in place, he will be able to hold off Stephano nicely, just picking off what he can, and will now go home having done the damage he needs to.
Yep, can you check how many workers he was able to kill? 4 workers, not that great. Actually, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought, I thought with the attacking SCVs, more would have gone down there, but fortunately for Polt anyway, he was able to save the majority of them. That spine crawler finally now working down those rocks, plus 1 ground carapace on the way for Stephano as well. And
yep, I think he's worried about maybe the counter pressure by Polt Prime. I'm sorry, TSL Polt, so he's putting down the macro hatch first instead of before taking his 3rd. I guess he's gonna take 3rd right now. And brilliant creep spread, by the way. Holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, it's already out to the center of the map. First two medevacs for Polt now coming out. Will we see an attempt at a drop anytime soon? I hope. That's the thing that a lot of Terran players like to do with the first 2 medevacs. Put some pressure on, or that's exactly what he's going to do right now, or drop, because you can usually catch a Zerg player before he has that Spire out, in which case here actually Stephano doesn't even have a Spire started.
Yep, I don't think he will be opting for Spire, to be honest. I think he will go, more than likely he'll go Infestor. Yeah, he does go for Infestation.
Yeah, Pathogen Glands now on the way. Be sure to see, or you will be sure, will definitely see, is what I'm trying to say, Stephano time out the completion of that upgrade with the first investor spawning to get that 75 energy for the fungal growth. Of course, Ling's now coming, he's going to need to be careful. Nice surround by the Lings so far. Polt needs some micro back, he needs to pull back there way too many roaches here. No, actually, able to drive those away, picks up an Overlord. Nice victory there.
Maybe one more scan to finish off this creep right here, maybe, hopefully. I think that's what he's waiting for.
That might be, yeah, because I can't imagine why a Terran player would just kind of be dancing around on the creep. Very dangerous thing to do there. And actually, no, Infestor's now just being started a little bit late. Not quite timing it out with the upgrade perfectly, but he was, of course, dealing with that pressure from Polt.
Yep, Polt actually could have dropped here while that was going on. That would have been a beautiful play, maybe canceling the 3rd or even, killing it. But he didn't do that, and, Stephano got his 3rd up, and now the game's stabilized. He's getting 5 Infestors up, so I'll say he's in a good position here.
Yeah, more ground carapace upgrades, as well as that melee level 1 did just finish, so we will, of course, be seeing just Ling Infestor from Stephano here. And does that mean once Polt realizes the composition that Stephano is going for, will he opt to go for more drops, which is, of course, very effective against this sort of unit composition?
Yeah, and it looks like he's just trying to clear up the, creep teamers here, and looks like we have a massive drop going.
Yeah, nice. It's going to be a 2-prong drop. 2-prong. Okay, there's the second medevac now making its way back. The remainder of the force will
He's
pull back.
flying over the creep and Overlord, so I don't.
Yeah, and Stephano, as you can see the minimap, yeah, there it is. All the Lings on moving into position. That drop needs to be picked up very quickly here Where is that second drop? Now making its way to the third base, and Stephano on top of his game absolutely knows what is going on. These Marines getting picked up, unfortunately, half of them going down there. And Polt really not able to get a whole lot done. Will he get this Overlord? Yeah, that Overlord's going to go down, but burning a scan for that. I guess he did get a couple of creep tumors, so not too bad of a trade. And where are these lings going? Just going to clean out this poor Marine.
Oh, poor Marine. Oh, huge fungal there.
Yeah, nice fungal there, catching the majority of the forces. Will he fungal these medevacs? No, he will not. That's a little unfortunate. He should have done that, I think, but maybe he was saving up energy for something else.
Maybe. We have a hive coming up relatively soon here, so I think we're definitely gonna see some ultra risk because he doesn't even have a spire, I don't think.
No, he hasn't even started a spire. Now getting his hive actually. So Ling and Fester Ultra, very strong combination, of course, but as many of us know, the Ghost Snipe, Ghost Academy, Ghost Snipe is very effective against all things Zerg, maybe except for like Mass Ling or something.
Yeah, I actually do want to kind of talk to you about that. I just don't get why Zerg, really bothers to get hive units against Terran. It just seems like it just, when you're ahead, it's giving Terran players to kind of catch up when they are able to snipe all the Brewlords or, Ultra Risk. Because, Zerg player really has nothing to turn back on after, all the expensive units die, so...
Yeah, I mean, I think the Broodlords are an okay choice, especially when the Terran player has so many siege tanks. You want to force those two in siege so you can run with your Banelings and Lings. Ultralisk, however, I think it's a different story. Like, Ultralisk are absolutely just terrible against Terrans. Even if Marine tank or, as you can see, Polt's mixing in a couple of Marauders here, very strong as Ultralisk, and just with the unit AI and some of the pathing issues with the Ultralisk, just not all in all a very good unit against Terran.
Yep, and Polt Prime here getting even the Mobius Reactor for his Ghost, so he can maybe EMP all these Infestors, because he has so many Infestors out right now.
Yeah,
and Stephano taking this entire kind of south and west of the map here. So, and how many drones does he have?
He said 79 drones. I'd like to see him go up to maybe like 80 something, nearly 90. That's usually like the prime, the optimal number for Zerg dronage. And a couple first few in Ultralisk now on the way, as well as adrenal glands and a plethora of upgrades. I don't actually recognize most of those. Looks like Chitinous playing on the way for the Ultralisk as well. And the first couple ghosts are about to pop up for Polt Prime. Polt Prime. So much of this is going to come down to unit control, and we'll really see who comes out on top. Very nice spread here from Polt Prime, now taking his fourth base as well. And the map is essentially cut in half. Polt Prime did throw out a couple of CCs, and he is primed to take a couple more bases, hopefully soon. And will Stephano start to make a push here? I don't think... Yeah, he's not going to do that, not until the Ultras join up at least, and a couple more now on the way.
Yep, I think Polt's plan is to just kind of cut the map in half and fight every battle cost efficiently and drops everywhere, and then eventually Terran will win out. Of course, as a Zerg, Stephano just needs to attack, and just max out instantly when your army is gone, and just, just trying to break Polt that way.
Yeah, this is the thing that will he get the cancel? He did get the cancel. Wow, very nicely canceled by Polt there, just the last second. But this is a dangerous game, I think, that Polt is playing. Whatever the matchup is against a Zerg player, you want to be very careful now, freeing up supply. Stephano, of course, doing this intentionally to free up that supply.
We have a huge battle here.
Ling's now running in Ultralisk too, but that weird gap in the middle kind of messing with the AI, and Infestors coming in, throwing them fungal growths everywhere. Nice spread by Polt.
So
Prime
many
everywhere.
Fungals. But Polt does able to clean up relatively well here.
Yeah, as you saw there, Polt had a nice giant arc around the Zerg army that was charging into the middle, and the spread of Marines, siege tanks, everything, despite how many fungals Stephano was able to throw down, not nearly enough 96 Zerglings now on the way with, they're going to have +3 melee attack completed along with that, 6 Ultras, as well as a couple more Infestors.
Wow, that's the power of Zerg. How do you make 96 Zerglings and 6 Ultras at once? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
wow.
That's what I was saying. It's a dangerous game Polt is playing here, letting the Zerg kind of sit on that much bank and stay permamaxed. And this is really what we're seeing. We're seeing the strength of Zerg and the macro player like Stephano, of course. And fortunately, Polt did survive that battle with most of his army intact. They're both now maxed again. However, Polt not banking, as you can see, nearly as many resources as Stephano is.
I'm surprised Polt is really not, doing any harassment to, pull Stephano back.
We're having another second engagement here. Round 2. Ultralisk and Lings running in among the siege tanks, getting some nice fungal growth off on the Marines and the siege tanks. And how many tanks can be taken out? Snipes, as you can hear that going down. So many Ultralisk being sniped down, and what? Stephano now pumping out to 7 more Ultras and 6 Lings, more Infestors, and we're gonna have probably a wave 3 shortly. Like you were saying, Legend, Polt isn't doing a very good job with harassments, or well, actually, it's non-existent, really. He's not doing anything with harassment. However, Stephano, I don't really like his style of play here. He's just kind of headbutting the strong point of Polt's army over and over again and losing these units unnecessarily. Now you can see that he's not banking nearly as many resources as he originally had.
Yep, and he's making 10 more drones at this point, so yeah, it looks, it's just Stephano's gonna headbutt Polt till he dies. It just seems like a very July-esque kind of.
It is a very July-esque. It looks like a, what's that called? Ventral sacs for the Overlords. Now on the way, so will we see some Ultralisk dropping on top of the tanks? That's always fun to see.
But Polt does have a very nice sensor tower up. 2 of them, in fact, so very defensive posture here by Polt. I really like the choice.
Yeah, and Polt, how many does he have enough production facilities? I mean, you can imagine he does. Yeah, definitely. That's a lot of Marines.
And yeah, 2 more barracks here. And he's even pumping at the Vikings, in preparation for Brewlords. We have another attack coming up from Stephano.
Yep, this is round 3, wave 3 now coming in. It's almost like playing tower defense, Jesus. And like Stephano this time realizes, no, I can't do this again over and over, and he is going to back out. Will he swing over to the left side, taking some siege tank fire? The Lings will run by, however, and how many SCV kills can they get? Looks like a couple here going down. The rest of Polt's army sort of out of position, actually. These ghosts out of energy, out of snipes. And very nicely done by Stephano, now attacking the weaker spot in Polt's defensive line. That orbital command, unfortunately, is going to go down to the Adrenaline Gland Zerglings, and the Ultralisk will get away handily, which is very nice of him to save that. These Lings actually did a lot of damage, surprisingly.
Yeah, actually, that was a very good point by you. He did attack the weak side of it, and he's actually going to attack the strong side again, and, looks like he's doing okay trade here.
Yeah, no, he is now, doing some actual damage, better than the first 2 attacks. But it would have been better if he had pulled back after taking out that left base and, remaxed again. Stephano seems all too keen, I think, on just kind of headbutting his head directly against a wall.
Yeah, he's just making non-stop Lings here, and the 3/3 Lings is powering through the tank fires, and wow, it's non-stop aggression by Stephano. This is really amusing to see, to say the least.
To his credit, he's doing considerable amount of damage. Those Marines are going to be sour like once these Lings come in and kind of take everything out. Yeah, they will get picked up, fortunately. And yeah, to his credit, Stephano is doing a good deal of damage with these Ling run-bys and whatnot. But, how much longer is he going to keep this up, I wonder. Can Polt hold on, I guess, is the better question.
Just random 4 infested Terrans there.
Yeah, as you can see here, guys, I mean, Stephano's just sort of streaming units in piecemeal, and so many of them getting picked off, not really staying together. And look at this. That's nice fungal growth. And these Ultralisk, will they be able to clean his tanks? No, they will not, with the infantry now backing them up. They should be taken out. And actually, Polt going down considerably in supply there. It seems like Stephano is being pretty wasteful with his units, but for some reason, it's proving to be sufficient to wear Polt down.
Yep, just Zerglings are just dirt cheap, and he was able to pick out so many tanks here. So, those Infestors going nuts on the clumped up Bayou units.
Yeah, and Planetary Fortresses now going on the map, and yeah,
Jesus.
These Lings will preempt those Planetary Fortresses. He has to lift them off, unfortunately. And actually, yeah, Stephano is slowly wearing Polt down here, and this war of attrition looks like it is going in his favor, surprisingly. And this is, I guess, the power of Stephano, of course, keeping on top with those larva injects, obviously. And that's how he's able to do this. Nice fungal growth on the clump of units there. Now the Ultras coming in, cleaning up quite a few. Only 1 tank there, unfortunately. And this unusual bold strategy from Stephano paying off. He is now carving his way into Polt's Nacho slowly but surely. Looks like the reinforcements will finally be able to stave off this attack. However, but Stephano's still pumping out more links, more ultras, more infestors. And it's been non-stop aggression from him for the past good 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, this is actually getting ridiculous. He is up almost 100 in supply, so he's definitely winning. And I was really sad to see that 25 kills siege tank go down, but it looks like this could be a very last attack here.
Yeah, and the Lings really doing so much damage, getting in amongst the Marines and the tanks, and it looks like they have 2 tanks left, and Polt doesn't have to help the GG. Wow, that's really impressive. This is really the way it seems that in StarCraft lore, not to sound too nerdy or whatever, I guess we're casting StarCraft, whatever. But it's kind of like almost the way you would imagine that the Zerg race is supposed to be played against Terran, endless waves, eventually just wearing down the defenses and whatnot.
That's actually a very good point, because even very great players like Sen or Hydra, they'll play a very great like 20-minute first games and they'll crush Terran, but they just don't know how to finish the Terran, but looks like Stephano's putting on a clinic, or well, I guess just endless units that just ended Polt Prime, who was just turtling entire time.
Yeah, and
which is so hard to break.
It is so hard to break, but on like I was saying, about 20 minutes ago in the mid game, Polt just kind of sitting back and not harassing, not putting any real pressure on letting Stephano take the entire half of the map, and that's the power of Zerg, just non-stop waves of units and aggression that eventually is able to just break him down.
Yep, that's the thing. Like, you do have to send just medvex everywhere and then keep the units not on your base, just away from your base, and then you can keep turtling.
And especially in a game like this where your Zerg opponent is not going metas, and just infestors can block down drops, but they're not nearly as effective at stopping drops as Mutalisk are, obviously.
Yeah, you have to use 3 fungals and a couple infested Terrans to kill off a medvex. So
exactly.
It's really, I mean, if you can get away with a medvex, you're only sacrificing eight Marines, which is literally nothing at this point.
Yeah, this late in the game, that is absolutely nothing. And you can trade that for a couple fungal growths, why the hell not? And well played by both players here. Stephano will take this one against Polt, and
this was really a high-class game.
It definitely was. Top-tier play, of course.
Both APM very high, as I expected.
Yeah, of course, from this level of play. Very high APM, and...
Wow, Polt was banking up almost 2,500 gas.
Well, when you have that many barracks of reactors pumping up Marines nonstop, that's kind of what happens. But at any rate, thanks for joining us here at All On TV StarCraft 2 commentary, Slide and Legend here, of course, and stay tuned for some more games.
Yep, see you guys later.